All right, so moving on to the final segment of this episode, I'm going to be switching gears from the NFL side of football to college football. So, following the announcement tonight that the committee made, I'm recording this video around 10 o'clock Eastern time. So, the committee made the announcement 3 hours ago about the college football rankings. So, in this segment, I'm going to agree or disagree that the committee got the playoff rankings correct this week. And I'm normally hard on the committee. I normally disagree with them at times, but yes, they deserve a round of applause for making the right decision happen and making the right choice, I should say, for the college playoffs current standings at this moment. When you look at all four teams, I think they really truly deserve to be in. All four teams will most likely stay in their seats and secure playoff spots with the win in their respective conference championship games this weekend. There is only conference championship games playing right now for this weekend, so you won't see anybody out there really having a chance. It's all going to fall on these four teams doing their job. When you look at the number one seed, Georgia Bulldogs, no matter what happens, they're going to have the number one seed regardless if they lose this SEC championship game or not this weekend. They have been dominant. They have picked up right where they left off despite the fact of losing several defensive key players that were contributed to being the best defensive group. In my opinion, the best defense in college football history. Despite losing all of those key cornerstone pieces, they picked up right where they left off. They look dominant this season as reigning defending champions. It looks like they might repeat, but no matter what happens this weekend, they still deserve to be the number one seed. They are the heavy favorite against the number 15 seed. The 15th best team in the country, and the LSU Tigers, and the SEC championship game. I expect for the Georgia Bulldogs to do what they do best this weekend. At the number two seed in the college football playoffs, the Michigan Wolverines is a lock as well to make the playoffs. I think despite what happens this weekend, they deserve to have the second seed in the college football playoffs this year. They just came off in my opinion, the most impressive win in the country this whole entire college football season, going on the road, sticking it to your rival, beating the second best team in the country in a decisive and dominant fashion in the Ohio State Buckeyes. There's no reason why the Michigan Wolverines, win or lose, will be out of the playoffs and be shuffled around in the playoff seedings. I expect them to do their job with ease, playing against Purdue in the Big Ten Championship this weekend. Then you look at the number 3 team, the TCU Frogs, and they deserve to be in. And I'm telling the truth on this. A lot of you guys might say, well, why is TCU win? Look, bottom line is they're 12-0. They deserve to be in. Are they a fan favorite? By any means, hell no. Because we would love to see Ohio State or Alabama in over TSU because what? It brings more competition. That's just the truth about that. I say it respectfully. But we all know the story. It's the Cinderella story of what TCU is going through. They're having their best year in program history at and football. They have the chance to compete for a championship this year, but this team has Cincinnati written all over it. Once they get into the playoffs, whether if they're reshuffled from 3 or 4, it's just going to be the same story that we've seen what happened to Cincinnati last year when they played better competition, got blown out to Alabama in the first round of the playoffs. And I'm looking at these teams that's currently in. They will get blown out if they play Georgia. They will get blown out if they play Michigan. And they will get blown out if they play USC. So bottom line is TCU, they deserve to be in for their hard work that they put in this season. Are they wasting a spot? In my opinion, yes. But it is what it is. Currently, they deserve to be in. They're not the fan favorite to be in. And I'll say that myself. So, moving on to the number 4th seed, and the final seed is USC. Now, they deserve to be in, and I said to myself, watching the Michigan and Ohio State game, that if Ohio State doesn't do their job today, USC, if they do their job, which they did against Notre Dame on Saturday night, they're going to take that final spot in the playoffs. Because they've done their work, they've done the work this season, And I'm going to get to the reason why Ohio State shouldn't be in. But talk about USC, Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams have came in and done the wonders for this program. They turned around the whole entire program. If you guys didn't know, if you're living under a rock last year, in college football, Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams were both a part of the Oklahoma Sooners. Reasons why they went to a different conference, the reason why I believe Lincoln Riley went elsewhere and played in the Pac-12 was due to the fact that Oklahoma Sooners in 2025 are set to be a SEC team. That means that Lincoln Riley will be playing against the best teams on a yearly basis. When you talk about LSU, Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Ole Miss, that whole entire the SEC is the best conference in college football. There's no debate about that. So I think Lincoln Riley was truly running away from smoke. As great as a college coach as he's been, a great offensive genius. But all jokes aside, him and Caleb Williams was a part of that as well. If you remember, Spencer Rattler was the guy. He was the shoe-in pick to be the first overall pick in the 2022 draft this past spring. Short story short, Caleb Williams came in, took his spot, and both of these guys went to the Pac-12 together. They've turned the program around. They're currently 11-1. If you want my honest opinion, I truly believe that Caleb Williams does deserve to win the Heisman Trophy at this particular point of the season, and they deserve to be in. So the question now asked is there any chance for Ohio State to make the college playoffs? And do they have a chance? Yes, but do they deserve to be in? Honestly, no, at this particular point. Due to the fact of what I saw last weekend, there's no way that the committee could have put them in. Even at the 4th seed, it would have stirred up a lot of controversy of why they would have been in over USC or even TCU. They lost at home. No matter how much you want to say they should be in, they lost at home 45-23 at home, and they were the second best team in the country. You don't lose a game like that by 18 points like that. All at home, the crowd is going, the energy is going, and you've had Michigan's number over the last few years, besides that hiccup that they experienced last year. That's a game you can't lose. They lost a close game. I would say that I would fight for them and vouch for them, saying they deserve to be in the playoffs. But the way how they lost, they got dominated offensively. They got dominated defensively. Got the ball ran down their throats and could not stop the passing game. Kept lining up in man-to-man coverage for whatever reason in that ball game against Michigan. Did not make the right adjustments to adjust to what the flow of Michigan's offense during that game. Offense deserves some blame as well. Couldn't get anything going, especially in the second half of that game. So for that reason, I don't believe that Ohio State should be in. Now, do they have a chance to get in? Absolutely. So the path I have for Ohio State to somehow, someway make the playoffs is due to these two reasons. And like I said, it's conference championship week. So Ohio State is not in the Big Ten championship, so therefore they are not playing this week. So their college playoff hopes rely on these two teams. Only way they get in is if USC somehow loses to Utah in the Pac-12 championship. That would take a lot. Or TCU gets blown out to Kent State in the Big 12 championship game. They're in. I believe they're in if USC loses that Pac-12 championship to Utah. But if USC wins, they're gonna that squashes it for me and for Ohio State. The only reason that they have a chance for TCU's sake is if they get blown out to Kent State in the Pac-12 championship, they just have no reason to be in the playoffs. And that's going to be the end of their hopes of being in contention to be a college football champion this year. But if they lose a close game to Kent State, I'm talking a three-point margin or a one-possession game. Let's just put it at a one-possession game. They're going to make the playoff. The committee's going to lock them. Maybe the committee's going to put them in, and they're probably most likely just going to reshuffle them with USC to make the final spot. So they will most likely downgrade to the 4th seed, and most likely will have to play Georgia in the first round. But if they get blown out, that is the only chance that Ohio State has. And any Alabama fans out there that maybe you guys maybe think you have a chance, no, maybe next year. Currently, they're number 6 in the country, and despite the fact that Ohio State has a chance to sneak in there, Alabama just doesn't this year. Their two crucial games and losses that they experienced by the hands of Tennessee and LSU are the two reasons why they will not creep into the playoffs like a lot of analysts expected. It's too little too late for Alabama. They have no shot of getting in the college football playoffs this year. Maybe we might see them play in a Rose Bowl game, but you won't see them compete for a college football championship. And this is kind of disappointing due to the fact that Nick Saban said last year that it was a rebuilding year for them getting to the college football championship. And I never bought into that. But that's just how I feel at this time. I do believe that these 4 teams will most likely all be in the playoffs unless TCU squanders their chances by getting blown out to Kent State in the Big 12 championship, or if USC can't close the door and beat Utah in the Pac-12 championship. So I truly do believe the committee got this one right this time. But that is all the time I have for you guys this week. Of course, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. This is your host, Thomas Cyrus, signing off. And I'll see you guys on next week's episode.